Imagine this: Brooklyn, New York, 1860. It's a summer afternoon, and the sun is absolutely brutal. You're watching a baseball game, back when baseball is still a young sport, still figuring itself out. The pitcher winds up, the ball cracks off the bat and launches high into the outfield. The outfielder sprints back. He looks up and immediately throws his hands over his eyes. The sun, straight overhead, blinding white. He stumbles, loses the ball in the glare. It drops 10 feet away from him. The crowd groans. This happens constantly. Players squinting, shielding their eyes with their gloves, losing pop flies in the sky. It's not a talent problem. It's a sun problem. But today, one player trots onto the field wearing something different. It's not armor. It's not a visor. It's not anything complicated. It's a soft, rounded cap with a short brim stitched across the front. He pulls it low over his eyes. He looks up at the sky. Perfect. He can see everything. Believe it or not, that simple little cap, sewn together to solve one very sweaty, very annoying problem, would eventually become one of the most recognized pieces of clothing in the history of the world. Welcome to Believe It or Not, the show where weird is real and the truth is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Bryan, and today's story starts on a dusty baseball field and ends up on the heads of presidents, rappers, astronauts, and billions of ordinary people across every continent on Earth. And how the most common hat in the world almost didn't happen. In the early days of baseball, the 1800s, players had almost no protective gear at all. No batting helmets, no sunglasses, no visors. Just the uniform, a glove, and whatever was on their head. Teams tried all kinds of solutions. Straw hats were popular for a while, cheap and lightweight, but they had problems. They were very uncomfortable in the heat. The brims were too wide, and they flew off when players ran. Some players just played bareheaded, which meant that on sunny days, fly balls became genuinely difficult. Looking up into a bright afternoon sky while trying to track a small white ball moving fast, it affected games. It cost runs. It frustrated everyone. Something had to change. The team credited with popularizing the modern baseball cap is the Brooklyn Excelsiors, one of the most celebrated baseball clubs of the 1860s. Their cap was elegantly simple. Soft cotton rounded on top with a firm brim extending forward over the eyes. It worked immediately. Players could look up without squinting, track the ball across a bright sky, move freely without anything flying off their head. Other teams noticed. They copied the design. They tweaked the brim length, adjusted the fit, experimented with different materials. Within a few decades, the baseball cap was standard equipment across the sport. It solved the problem so completely that nobody felt the need to invent anything better. Over 160 years later, the basic design is almost identical. For the first few decades, caps stayed on the field. But then, fans started wearing them. Team colors, team logos, as a way of showing loyalty. Something about wearing the same hat as your favorite player felt like being part of something. Then kids started wearing them. Then teenagers. Then people who had never watched a single baseball game in their lives. The cap drifted off the field and into the street. And then, something nobody predicted happened. Hip hop culture in the 1970s and 80s embraced the baseball cap completely, wearing it backward, sideways, tilted, customized. It stopped being about sun protection or team loyalty, else entirely. Identity, attitude, art. Designers noticed, fashion houses noticed. Eventually, the whole world noticed. Today, the baseball cap is worn in countries where baseball doesn't exist, by people who couldn't name a single team, as a universal garment that somehow means something to everyone. A brim invented to block the Brooklyn sun ended up on the heads of billions. Now here's what really strikes me about this story. Nobody designed the baseball cap to be a cultural icon. Nobody sat down and thought, this hat will be everywhere 160 years from now. They just needed to see the ball. That's it. A practical fix for an annoying problem. And yet something about the simplicity of it, the clean shape, the forward brim, the way it frames a face, connected with something deep in human culture and refused to let go. You know, sometimes the most enduring things are often like that. Not grand visions, just simple solutions that turned out to fit the shape of human life perfectly. Now, here are a few believe it or not facts I found while researching the podcast. Believe it or not, the button on top of every baseball cap has a name. It's called a squatchy. Isn't that a fun word to say? Squatchy. It serves no functional purpose whatsoever. It's purely decorative. A leftover from when the original manufacturers needed it in the process. Billions of people wear a squatchy every day without knowing it exists. Believe it or not, early players actually tried wearing top hats and bowler hats on the field before the baseball cap was standardized. Photographs exist of 19th century baseball players in full bowler hats, looking like they wandered in from a business meeting. Believe it or not, the New York Yankees cap, the interlocking N and Y logo, is one of the most reproduced images in the history of fashion. It's been estimated that more people wear the Yankees logo than any other sports insignia on Earth, including in countries where virtually nobody watches baseball. Believe it or not, NASA astronauts wear baseball caps inside the ISS. The hat designed for an 1860s Brooklyn baseball field is apparently also the preferred casual headwear in orbit. Believe it or not, in 2022, a rare baseball cap worn by hip-hop legend Notorious B.I.G. sold at auction for over $600,000. A soft cotton hat, originally worth $20, became one of the most expensive pieces of clothing ever sold. And finally, believe it or not, the backward cap trend, now considered completely normal, was widely condemned as rebellious and inappropriate when it emerged in the 80s and 90s. I remember my grandfather thinking, "That looks ridiculous. Put that hat on your head correctly." School districts banned it. Employers banned it. Today, it appears in fashion campaigns, on politicians, and at the White House. In time, the hat won. Now here's your question. The baseball cap was designed to solve one tiny, specific problem on a baseball field in Brooklyn. Nobody planned for what it became. So here's the question. What does it mean when something simple takes over the world? Is it luck? Is it design? Or is it just fitting perfectly into a gap nobody even knew was there? And what simple thing around you right now might do the same thing? If someone gave it a chance. If you're enjoying Believe It or Not, follow or subscribe wherever you listen. And share this episode with someone who's wearing a baseball cap right now. Because they're wearing 160 years of history on their head. And they probably don't even know it. Next time on Believe It or Not, imagine holding a lollipop. Bright, colorful, perfectly round. Now, look at the wrapper. The design is bold, strange, almost dreamlike. Because it was created by one of the most famous and bizarre artists who ever lived. A man known for painting melting clocks and impossible landscapes. He didn't design it for a gallery. He didn't design it for a museum. He designed it for candy. The surreal, slightly strange story of how Salvador Dali helped create one of the most famous lollipops in the world. You won't want to miss it. Now before we go, as always, here's a baseball joke for you. Why do teams play baseball games at night? Because bats are nocturnal. Until next time, keep wondering, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the truth is weirder than fiction.